Hey, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum here, and I have Dr. Dan Pompa with me, and what a great opportunity to help you figure out what you can do to help yourself feel better. You know, every day I'm confronted with people that they can't get out of their house, they have difficulty with balance, walking, numbness, tingling, they're on too many medications, they're just not feeling well. And there's no real answers out there other than potentially covering it up somehow, and that's not the real goal. So I want to go over and have Dr. Pompa actually walk you through what it will take to help you get your life back. And I think along the way, you're going to find you in this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everything I'm going to share with them and you all is what affected my life. You know, I got sick in a lot of the things that you just said as a younger man back in 1999, but God had purpose in it, because here I am, teaching this, and I have to say this, it was a really rough time in my life. I wasn't the father that I needed to be. I wasn't the doctor at that time that I needed to be, and or the husband. But my wife, in her prayer time, literally crying out for answers for us as a family. God spoke to her heart that not only am I going to get him well, that would be me, but he would take a message to the world, and here I am. So,
awesome.
But anyways, the point is that everything I learned in it, I've been teaching for over 20 years to doctors and practitioners around the country. You're about to hear it.
Yeah. And I just want to say, the fact that you just keep digging and you keep digging, and as a group that, we all work together as the Platinum Doctors, we keep trying new stuff and getting it better and better, and you just you're relentless on finding the best way to fix the cell, which you're going to talk about. And you preface everything with, for such a time like this. And for such a time like this for you, you've had so much stuff. You've worked so hard to get where you're at, but your body is failing you. This is what you need to know in order to get it turned around.
Actually, these products that I'll show you, that's the tagline for such a time as this.
Right.
Meaning, to impact the cell. I have a saying: fix the cell, we get well. And that's going to mean way more to you in a moment. So hang in there. But that is, life and death literally begins on our cell membranes, how we feel our cell membranes. Hormones don't work normally unless we fix these cells, the membranes. Digestion, it's all about our cells. Ache and pain, too much inflammation, it's all about the cells. So that's why, this is why you probably tried a lot of things and still don't feel well. I'm getting there. This is a cellular issue. But the products that we were using, and I developed a lot of product for a lot of companies along the way, and some amazing products, but we realized that the bioavailability of the ingredients, meaning how well they get assimilated into the cell, was very difficult today, because so many toxins drive something called cellular inflammation, and then we can't get our good nutrition in. Even if we change our diet, oftentimes people don't feel better because of what's happening at the cell. And oftentimes we take certain medications, even hormones, even supplements, and if they don't get in the cell, we don't feel well.
Exactly.
And so this line, we did things to make them more bioavailable, like growing mushrooms literally on different botanicals like turmeric, which we know has all this anti-inflammatory effects, all these things, but so many of those ingredients aren't usable to the human body at the cellular level. Even though we hear in laboratory that they do all these great things, it really doesn't. But if we take a mushroom and grow it on the turmeric, then it pulls up the ingredients and makes them bioavailable actually to us. And there's actually a great example of that. If you take a chaga mushroom, they oftentimes grow on birch trees. There's one ingredient in a birch tree that drug companies access for cancer, and it's a main drug, or a main ingredient for their cancer drugs. But if you take it from the birch tree, the body doesn't assimilate it. But if you grow the mushroom on the birch tree, it pulls the ingredient out, and then the drug companies take it from the chaga mushroom.
That's
so it's the same thing. So we've done that in this product. But here's what I want them to see. You can help me hold it. So, but okay. So I said that the cell is everything. Fix the cell, get well. But this will make more sense to you. Every cell has a membrane that allows good stuff into the cell, like our vitamins, minerals, foods, etc. But also has to let toxins out, because in every cell we have a mitochondria where we make energy. When you make energy, you make waste. There's a fireplace to my right, and if we burn wood in that fireplace, the damper better be open, otherwise that smoke pours in, we die.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so when we make energy like the fireplace in this mitochondria, and by the way, that energy is called ATP, not that that matters, but we make toxins that have to come out of the cell. When your cell membrane works, everything works. Good stuff in, bad stuff out. But what if something is blocking that membrane or making it inflamed? So cellular inflammation is the #1 problem of why we have too much aches and pains, neuropathies, nerves don't work right, our brain doesn't work right, our digestion doesn't work right. Well, inflammation, because you probably heard that, inflammation is the cause of every chronic condition, but it's not just the inflammation of the shoulder, cellular inflammation. So now we can't get the good nutrition in, we can't get the bad toxins out that we make in our toxins. And one other huge problem that I want you to understand, on every cell, we have these receptors to all of our hormones. Thyroid hormone today is a big problem. Even if we go to our doctor saying, I'm not losing weight anymore, or I'm gaining weight where I never had, I can't lose it, or I don't have enough energy to get through a day, I feel like I have brain fog, I have these neuropathies. A lot of that can be caused by thyroid, but we go to our doctor, get our blood work, and he says it's normal. But if your blood work of hormones is normal, that doesn't mean that the hormone is actually getting in the cell. Thyroid hormone has to actually get in the cell, and then we burn fat normally, our brain works normally, all these wonderful things. But what if something's blocking that? Inflammation. Yeah, okay. And then I could say the same for estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, insulin. So many neuropathies today are caused by elevated glucose, insulin, pre-diabetes. You may not even know you have diabetes. But again, a lot of people have neuropathies just because some of these hormones are off. But again, we are looking at blood levels of hormones. Let's say you go to your doctor and they tell you your thyroid hormone or your estrogen or testosterone or any of those hormones is off. Then typically they give you hormones, which makes the blood work look better. So we go back in 2 months and they go, hey, it's better. Your blood levels look better. But you're like, I'm not better. I still can't make it through my day, because they're not getting to the cause of what's blocking the hormones from getting their message in the cell. And if that happens, we feel well. If that doesn't happen, we don't. So then the better question is what's driving the inflammation?
Exactly.
What's driving the inflammation? There's a lot of different toxins that we're exposed to today, and it's causing inflammation. And on the products, one of the first things that we had to deal with is the membrane, and that's why membrane R2, right? And this membrane has to be regenerated, but not just this outer membrane, but also the inner membrane. The other thing was we had to tackle next to deal with this toxic issue and to deal with this inflammation issue. This one's called mitomethylator. Mito means the mitochondria. If we don't make enough energy, energy starts declining as the cell gets more inflamed. But as the energy goes down, there's something in every one of our cells that declines as well. And that is called, I'm going to abbreviate it, GSH, that's glutathione. As glutathione drops, as energy drops, glutathione drops. As glutathione drops, energy drops. But here's the problem. Inflammation goes up. So inflammation, we start increasing as the cell energy goes up. So we need to deal with the cell energy. And here's the problem. Glutathione is the #1 thing that combats inflammation, and it's dropping. But glutathione also is how we get these toxins out of the cell. And so then we have more toxins building up, more energy decrease, more inflammation going on. And then there's one other problem. There's something called methylation. Carbon and 3 hydrogens, believe it or not, that's simple. This product deals with that. This is how we turn bad genes on and off. Good genes on, bad genes off. So in every cell, we also have where our DNA is. And believe it or not, a lot of the conditions that many of you are dealing with, suffering with, a gene got triggered. You weren't unlucky, you didn't get the gene from your mom or dad and you were just the unlucky one. No, genes we know now are turned on and off. And this methylation is how we protect our DNA and also turn our good genes on and our bad genes off. But methylation also parallels this detox mechanism and inflammation mechanism, glutathione. So as glutathione goes down, so does methylation. And now we don't detox our cells normally, we build more inflammation and we turn on bad genes. So anyways, we're dealing with all of the cell processes. And one more, this product is Inflammar 4. We need to help the cell reduce the inflammation if we're going to feel well.
Yeah,
So.
and you know what? We had a really good call the other day, and we got an idea about the DNA and how the DNA is like a library. It's a bunch of books on a shelf, and all those books could be there. We all have cancer genes. We all have Alzheimer's genes. You know, multiple sclerosis. We have those. They're just not being expressed.
Yes.
And as long as that book doesn't get pulled off the shelf and opened and read, as saying a bad gene, open and read, we stay healthy.
Yeah.
But when that gene gets messed up because of all of this toxins in the cell, because of the bad cell wall, people start to get sick, and they can actually have some bad things triggered.
Absolutely.
So the goal is to try to make sure, you know, if you're healthy, you're great. Let's get you there. But if you're having the trouble that we talked about earlier and nothing's working, this is going to be what you need to look at.
So many people today are methyl depleted. It's not a gene. I know a lot of people running and getting these expensive genetic tests and saying, oh, I'm the unlucky one. I don't methylate well. That's such a small part of the picture. The big reason why people are losing this important methylation that protects our genes and, you know, turns on our good ones, turns off our bad ones, is because of the stressors in their life. Methylation, the number one priority of it is stress adaptation. So if you're stressed out, you're depleting methyl groups. But toxic stress in the cell depletes it the most.
Wow.
And then when methylation goes down, I'm repeating myself, glutathione goes down.
And glutathione is the number one detoxifying agent that we have in our body.
Yeah, and as that goes down, more toxins build up, more genes get triggered. See, it's a vicious cycle of inflammation.
Right.
So, I mean, in those three products, we're dealing with the inflammation directly, very uniquely, and I don't have time to get into what's in that product that's so unique, but that mushroom technology that I talked about is in that product. But we're dealing with the energy of the cell. You can't, unless you increase cell energy, you don't feel well no matter what you do, including change your diet, exercise, doesn't matter. And if you don't deal with the energy, inflammation increases. So it's this nasty feedback loop, but that's why we're dealing with all of those cellular pathways, and which ultimately deals with the cellular toxins as well. But we also have two other products in what I call a prep phase. And one is a gut product, because as we start getting cell function going, we know the gut plays a big role in how we feel, how our brain works. 80% of immunity is in our gut. So gut enhancer, we want to enhance and protect the gut. Drainage enhancer, it upregulates kidney function, liver function, and lymphatic system. That's how we get rid of toxins. Right. Because we want to support those systems while we're supporting the cell. Because when we support the cell, what happens is toxins start moving out. So we want to open up the liver, the kidneys, and the lymph. But listen, what I want people to hear, this is why we don't feel well despite changing our diet, despite taking hormones. Look, you can take all the hormones you want. If they don't get in the cell, it doesn't matter. You can eat the best diet in the world. If you're not getting the nutrition in the cell, we don't feel well.
Yeah.
Fix the cell to get well. That's how I got my life back, and thousands of others.
So I have just a couple questions for you. You know, so many people try a lot of different detox things. They go and they get them from a friend who recommends they get them off the shelf. Sometimes because these things are not able to get into the cell, like you said, they can actually make you sick, even if they're good products.
Yes.
But then also, there's so few of the products out there have any kind of testing. Yes, can you talk about the testing, you know, and why that's important?
Well, every ingredient that goes in these products is tested. Every batch, because
third party. Right?
Yeah, third party, because it's not us testing them, right? Yeah, but and that's because so many of the ingredients today are very, very toxic and hold a lot of different toxins because of where they come from.
Yeah.
So that's important. And by the way, the ingredients here, most, not all, of the ingredients are farm to pill. You've been on the farm, the ranch. It's really a ranch where we grow these in an organic. One of under 100 in the world, by the way. It's an organic regenerative soil project where we're regenerating the soil. Look, you can grow an organic product in soil A and grow another product in soil B and have two different products, even though it's the same. Turmeric here, and yet, wow, this one is so much more nutrient-based because of the soil it was grown in. Yeah. And that's why. And then also, is a big deal in here, and a lot of the ingredients, the herbals, the botanicals, are fermented. Why? Because if you have an inflamed gut, you can't utilize the ingredients. The fermentation process used here makes them usable.
Yeah.
So again, it's about the bioavailability of someone who has a bad digestion. It's about bioavailability of someone who has a bad cell. But look, I'm telling you, just most people start these products for 1 week and they start feeling better because they're just raising cell energy.
Yeah.
And now things start to work, right? Or they're raising their methylation and they start to actually, detox the cell and, start to feel better. But after a month on them, it's like, the testimonies are huge, right?
So we're basically starting people who want to get healthy and they've tried everything and said, just tell me what
Start
to do.
here.
Start here, and
Yep.
then at that point we reassess.
Yep.
What's more, and everybody's going to have a different path at that point.
Absolutely.
Because we all are different people.
Absolutely, but start here.
Yeah.
And I want to say this, you don't need a multivitamin when you're taking these.
Okay.
Even most people lack minerals today because of bad soil. The minerals in here are the highest technology in the world right now of getting minerals in the body. Most products have minerals that your body uses barely.
Like rocks.
Yeah, it's like rocks, right? This is like how a plant takes minerals from the ground and then they absorb it. So you do not need a multivitamin with this.
Well, guys, thank you so much for taking time to tell us about
Yep.
this. We'll be talking about this in the office, and you're more than welcome to stop me, and we'll make sure that we help you get healthy, fix a cell to get well for such a time like this. Thank you.
Absolutely.